Rich Hooser and Gary Lee back in the Civic Center in Roanoke. If you've just joined us, this is what happened earlier. It's been a wild night so far. This was in qualifying. Steve Wilkie flips over in USA 1. You can see the roll cage work. Steve is okay, but a lot of damage to that monster truck. That was in qualifying. This is first round action. David Moore's equalizer, and watch the breakage on the suspension as he lands in the shutoff area. It has been a very expensive night here. A lot of damage to these monster trucks. We are ready now for second round competition. Buffalo Tremor going up against Mad Dog, Bennett Wild Hair, and Carolina Crusher. Whiskey Business will go against Awesome Kong, and Clydesdale 2 against the Thunder Chicken. All right, here's a look at Mad Dog. Bob Breen out of Jefferson City, Missouri, in the convertible Blazer, a unique truck on the Monster Truck Challenge Series against Johnny K. John Kwasniewski. The Buffalo Tremor, actually Equalizer, should have been here, but Equalizer broke, so the Buffalo Tremor will go up against Mad Dog in the second round competition. And the victory goes to Johnny K. in the Buffalo Tremor.
John Kwasniewski did a good job of driving here. He bounced and carried that front end right over the top of the cars, and he's able to stay on top of them and take the win.
Johnny, we're going to hang on to you for just a second. Looks like a rear drive shaft went away.
Yeah, we lost Universal on that run. We have to get it back out there. I think we can get it fixed.
You are going to make it to the next round?
Yeah, we will. We just have to hustle.
Get back in the pits. We'll see you then.
Right. Thank you, Army.
Because of the bracketing, we have two losers from the first round. In fact, the fastest two losers going on to second round competition. One is Whiskey Business. He was the fastest loser, and he will go up against Awesome Kong here in the second round. Ken Deppy against Awesome Kong, driven by Steve Kane. And Steve Kane picks up the victory. The little skinny truck from Texas. Steve Kane and Awesome Kong.
Now, if you watch how Steve drives down here, he just doesn't give the truck everything that it has. He just gives it enough to win.
Steve Kane, you've been having all kind of troubles, but you keep moving into the next round. What's the problem with the truck?
Well, we got our axle keeps coming up and hitting the bottom of the oil pan. So I got to get a new oil pan and put on there a smaller one.
Well, you're down into the final four of this thing, boy. It's tough, super tough sledding out there tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, that track, it just keeps going away. It's getting worse and worse all night.
Well, now we look at Thunder Chicken, Kid Rarig, in the Chevy 512 cubic inches out of the state of Pennsylvania. And the Thunder Chicken goes up against the former rodeo rider, Bennett Clark, in the pink driving suit in Clydesdale 2.
And Kid Raring, I'd say, got a little lucky by beating Gravedigger because Gravedigger was handicapped.
And by a wheel length, it's Clydesdale. Bennett Clark takes the victory in the Chevrolet. Coming at you now, Bennett Clark takes advantage right there as he powers up that ramp, takes the victory. Let's go out to the pit area and check in with Johnny K.
John, first thing, congratulations on getting into the semifinals, but hey, the pressure's not bad enough there. You got to come out here and get this thing back together. What happened in the last round?
Oh, when we come off the cars, I heard a noise underneath it. We snapped the Universal in the rear drive shaft.
So it's a pretty simple operation to get it all back together, but the pressure just doesn't make it a little easier, does it?
It's just the time that you got to have to put it together. It takes a little bit longer, a little more pressure, but we'll get it.
Okay, well, I'll let you go.
Thank you.
And you'll notice these guys do not have a lot of crew members out there to help. They drive, they maintain the truck, and transport the truck from race to race. Marvin Smith now from Arnold, Missouri, in the Wild Hair, and he'll be going up against Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher.
And, of course, Wild Hair was our second fastest loser here tonight. That's how he gets a second chance and come back into the quarterfinals, Gary.
As they stage, watch for that green light. And something happened to the Wild Hair as Carolina Crusher takes the victory.
Gary Porter just stayed in the throttle maybe a little too long. You've seen the smoke come out of the exhaust. It's when he got up in the air and he's still in the throttle and the tires are spinning a lot. And there's just a little bit of raw fuel burning out of Wild Hair, so he might have had a little engine problem, maybe the carburetor problem.
You're taking a real weird bounce, and it looks like to me you're almost going to get into the wall because you've got to throttle that truck as soon as you hit to keep it on the ground, don't you?
It is. I've been lining up to the right of the lane, And this time I went a little bit further to the right, and I think I went a little bit too far, and I'll be bringing it back to the left a little bit.
Well, we are ready for the semifinals, and this is how they got there as the Buffalo Tremor, Johnny K, took out Mad Dog. Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter victorious over Wild Hare. In the second bracket, Awesome Kong defeats Whisky Business, and Clydesdale 2, Bennett Clark, taking out Thunder Chicken. So we are down to the final four here in the Roanoke Civic Center. A great crowd on hand, very enthusiastic. And now we take a look at Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, and he will go up against Johnny K, John Kwasniewski, in the Buffalo Tremor.
And when I was outside with John Kwasniewski, he was working real hard to get that truck back together. Now, he's not real sure if it's going to hold out for him, but he got it back together in time.
Well, it may have held together, but it was not quick enough to beat Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher as he will move to the finals against either Awesome Kong or Clydesdale.
Now, John's taking a look underneath his vehicle to see if that rear drive shaft held up. I don't think it did. You can see he's got the power there, but as soon as his rear tires landed on the cars, he ran out of power.
Let's take a ride now with Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher and notice the abuse the driver takes as these monster trucks slam back to earth here in Roanoke in the Civic Center as Gary has walked over to join our Army Armstrong.
Nobody else tonight is driving the way you are. Nobody is skying. You're literally just jumping through the finish line, aren't you?
It is. The truck's getting an awful lot of air after I shift a second. You know, I just hold the motor to the floor and just let the truck do the rest, and it's getting a lot of air off of the ramp.
There's a look at Bennett Clark in Clydesdale 2. He will go up against Steve Kane in Awesome Kong for the right to meet the Carolina Crusher in the championship here in the Roanoke Civic Center. There's a look at Steve Kane's Awesome Kong.
Now, this should be a good race here, Gary. Now, normally you'd probably bet on Awesome Kong, but Clydesdale's new truck is just running superb this year.
A good close battle, but it's Awesome Kong by what, maybe 18 inches?
It was real close down here, Gary. Now, they both come over the hill a little bit easy, but Awesome Kong poured on his power a little bit before Clydesdale did.
Well, the fans love it here as we are ready for the championship shootout between Carolina Crusher and Awesome Kong. Stay with us.